President Trump's assault on the judiciary by attacking judges and even their families when their rulings don't go his way is well documented. But now, as president, he's taking an even more aggressive approach, going after law firms that represent clients that the president doesn't like. The first to feel his wrath is a law firm which represents former special counsel Jack Smith. Smith, as you know, is now a private citizen, but as special counsel with the Department of Justice, he brought criminal charges against Trump in 2 cases. Smith is expecting to be the subject of a number of investigations by Republicans in Congress for which he'll need legal help. Now, in late February, the president signed a memo suspending the active security clearances of lawyers from a firm called Covington and Burling who represent Jack Smith.
Hold it. This is a good one. Is everybody listening? Deranged Jack Smith. We're going to call it the Deranged Jack Smith signing or bill. Go ahead.
In some cases, when sensitive materials involved, attorneys need security clearances to adequately represent a client. For instance, Donald Trump's attorneys had security clearances working on the classified documents case against him and other cases as well. If Mr. Smith's attorneys can have access to sensitive documents, the question is, can he be adequately represented in national security matters by them? According to legal scholars, it could also violate the First Amendment's right to free speech, the Fifth Amendment's guarantee of due process, and the Sixth Amendment's right to effective assistance of counsel. It's not just one firm that's been targeted so far. Another firm, Perkins Coie, it's called, they've been targeted. They represented Hillary Clinton's campaign when she ran against Trump, and they hired an opposition research firm, which ended up producing the now infamous Steele dossier. Lawyers at Perkins Coie are currently working on a case challenging Trump's ban on trans service members, and the president has also attacked them for having internal diversity initiatives. 4 days ago, that law firm's security clearances were also suspended, and they've been banned from entering some federal buildings.
This is an absolute honor to sign. What they've done is it's just terrible. It's weaponization. You could say weaponization against a political opponent. And you're looking at about 15 different firms?
That or more, sir, yes.
15 firms or more. The question left in the air, of course, is who's next? And that's a question the president likely wants law firms asking themselves. These actions against 2 prominent firms certainly send a chilling message to other firms about taking on cases that President Trump might not like. Even if individual lawyers may be brave enough to incur the wrath of the most powerful man in the world, the other attorneys at their firm may not be. And the other clients of these firms may cancel their business because they're afraid the president will then punish their companies just by using one of these law firms. That, it seems, is not an accidental byproduct of the president's actions. It sounds like that's the point. Yesterday, in an interview on Fox Business, the president threatened more firms will be targeted.
We have a lot of law firms that we're going to be going after because they were very dishonest people. They were very, very dishonest. I could go point after point after point, and it was so bad for our country. And we have a lot of law firms that we're going after.
Well, joining me now is former Ambassador Norm Eisen. He was special counsel to House Democrats in President Trump's first impeachment, is now the executive chair of the State Democracy Defenders Fund, who have a number of pending legal motions against the Trump administration. And just this afternoon, according to this posting by Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, Norm's security clearance was revoked per directive of the president. I'm also joined by Erin Mulvaney with the Wall Street Journal, whose latest piece is titled "Fear of Trump Has Elite Law Firms in Retreat." So, Erin, can you just walk us through your reporting? What are attorneys at these firms saying, probably not on the record, but about what's going on?
I think chill is definitely the right word that you had at the top of the segment. I think there's just a fear of any kind of retaliation, maybe even not of what happened to the first 2 law firms that you mentioned. They're fearful of losing clients. They're fearful of retaliation against their clients.
Because other clients who don't have a case against the president or some company that has this firm representing them, they might be fearful that, well, the president will go after this company because their attorneys he doesn't like.
Yeah, exactly. I think that, and we're also talking about these types of firms are the biggest, the most elite. They represent the biggest companies in the world too. So they go hand in hand. And I think that's why it's a bit alarming that, law firms can step back. Everyone can get a lawyer of any kind. And yeah, and to some extent they do choose their clients. Well, they do choose their clients, but it's a matter of, but they're just doing their job. That's what the lawyers would say. But the idea that Trump is willing and will retaliate against them if there's a perceived notion that they're coming after him or enemies, I think that's what's alarming.
Yeah.
Even the biggest firms out there.
And Norm, I mean, you're involved in multiple cases challenging the administration. We mentioned your security clearance getting pulled. But by the way, does anyone notify you, or did you just hear that through Tulsi Gabbard's, announcement?
My phone started blowing up. Look at Tulsi Gabbard's tweet. And Anderson, President Trump had said he was going to do this several weeks ago, right after we secured a court order in one of our cases at Democracy Defenders, protecting thousands of FBI agents from retaliation for working on January 6 cases. So you really have to see this as a kind of a backhanded compliment. We're working on over a dozen cases, and we've gotten those orders in many of the cases in response to illegal behavior by the administration. And this is more retaliation. Plenty of lawyers are going to stand up to it.
And Aaron, in terms of the retaliation, it's revoking security clearances. What else?
There are also firms that work with big companies that have government contracts, and Trump is asking to investigate those government contracts and potentially revoke them, which
Wow,
is
so not
basically just
related to the case they're
lucrative.
working on, just any government contract this firm may have.
Right. I mean, if you read the executive orders, it's very clear that the firms are being targeted, not the work they're doing necessarily. Even the one about Jack Smith is about the firm being the problem.
Wow.
And the second was much more sweeping. It called for investigations into DEI practices, revoking of government contracts. You mentioned access to federal buildings. It's written a little broadly, so it's not clear if that means federal courthouses. And the second law firm, Perkins Coie, has said that they see it as patently unlawful,
Right.
the move, and they will challenge.
And Norm, I mean, for you, this feels like, administrations have had contentious relationships, with law firms in the past, but this feels like they're pulling levers which have not been pulled before.
Anderson, it's illegal. It's a violation of the Constitution. The first time they try to keep me out of a courthouse will be right in front of a judge within minutes. I guarantee you that judge will have me in the courthouse. You have to understand it in a pattern, Anderson. Donald Trump said he was going to be a dictator on day one. The essence of dictatorship is breaking the law, and these unconstitutional
What's illegal about
actions-
this?
Well, it violates First Amendment, freedom of speech. There's no due process at all. It cuts off my client's right to counsel if I need, and I do, security clearances to represent clients. This won't hold up in court, just like so many others of Donald Trump's actions. Illegal spending freezes, Mr. Elon Musk and Doge pawing over personal data, the firing of those FBI agents. I'll be in court this week on an illegal firing of tens of thousands of probationary employees. We've gotten order after order from the courts, myself and our partners, cutting that off. Yes, you need lawyers and law firms to bring those cases, but the retaliation won't work. Perkins Coie got one of the best firms in the country to represent them. And I think you're going to see some law firms will be scared, but many attorneys are going to take this as a backhanded compliment. Anderson, you know what? I'm doubling down, and so are my colleagues at Democracy Defenders.
I heard a number of firms turn down, I think Perkins Coie initially, but they do have a very good law firm now representing them. Ambassador Norm Eisen, appreciate it. Aaron Mulvaney as well. Thanks so much.